Info Plus for genuine information.
Gannon in 2008, left in 2013 for a very brief period, but about 13 months. And then I came back in 2014 and have been there since and will remain there. It's a great school. As with many things in the United States, there's a bit of complexity in that, 50 states have ownership in what each state does. I mean, the federal government, of course, guides and provides directives, but then each state has its own directives. And there are some states that have been quite liberal, without lockdowns, without COVID precautions, without disrupting the economy, and then there have been other states that have been severe and continue to be severe with lockdowns. So it really depends on the state to determine, what any one university will be doing or how that university will be responding to COVID. I come from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is in the Northeast. It was moderate in its restrictions initially, with a lockdown and a controlled economy, restrictions on where people could go. That has since been lifted. And Gannon, as a university, in September of 2020, we went face-to-face. So when March 2020, COVID emerged and everyone went online until we could figure it out. That May, we declared that we would be face-to-face in September. And with all the precautions and the spacing, with masks, daily temperature checks, we went in traditional modality. We went face-to-face and went through the whole academic year without a problem. And that was with bringing in over 100 international students that fall, which under COVID was quite a good number because nobody was moving, right? Nobody was going anywhere. Consulate offices weren't open. So we think we were pretty successful. So for the Center for Disease Control, CDC, issued new guidelines that requires all international visitors to be fully vaccinated before they can come into the United States and demonstrate a negative COVID test result before they can board a plane. It would be easy to be reductionist and give you one or two reasons, but the reality is every college, every university has a unique profile, from where it's located, to the kind of school it is, to the size that it is, to the types of programs that it offers, which is why we have over 4,000. Because schools in California are very different than schools in Florida. Schools in Florida are very different than schools in Pennsylvania, just in location. I said earlier when we started our conversation, it depends on the state. So depending on how severe the COVID lockdown is for any one state will depend on how constricted the economy is. But with STEM programs, there's such a need for computer skills, for cyber security, cyber and engineering and science and all the healthcare professions. Even despite COVID, the demand for skilled sets in those areas has not diminished. And so our students have been able to find jobs easily, well-paying jobs, just because of the demand, because of the need for students for employment, from people coming out of graduate or undergraduate degrees into those fields. Poly students are bright, they're highly motivated, they're very resourceful, I would say they're survivors, and I mean that in a good sense. You know, they come in to a new community, into a new country, and they make it work. They get their degrees, they move on, and they prepare a path for other Nepali students. A school like Gannon and other schools are prepared, are welcoming. Parents should know that their students will be safe. I just talked to a parent 5 minutes before we started our discussion. Her daughter just came in this past fall. She loves it so much she's forgot about home. I don't know that that's good, but it's comforting to me as it is to her mom to know that she has adjusted. Here's what I would say for the typical Nepali student wanting to come to the States. Be thoughtful as to the decision you make on the choice of your education. Because of the choices, it's both a blessing and a potential curse. The quickest way to get a degree, the least costly way to get a degree, is to stay at the school you start. If you go to a school and it's not right, and you start to move, as some students do, they find credits don't transfer, they find they need to go to school longer, they find that they end up spending more money. So think about the region you want to study in. Look at the United States, it's a big country. Each region's different than the other. Where do you want to study? What kind of a school do you want in size, big or small? Do you want a public or private school? Do you want a school in the country or a school more in the city? How big of a school do you want? We have schools as big as 50,000. Auditorium settings of 400 and 500 students. We've got schools like Gannon that have student-faculty ratios of 12 to 1. Student teachers don't teach their classes. All of these choices are good, but what is the best one for any one student? That's what a Nepali student needs to consider. And there's people like me, there's Yusuf here in Kathmandu that can help. There are consultancies that are very good that can help any one Nepali student with that decision. That would be my recommendation. To not be afraid, to come into the process with great enthusiasm, but that to come into it thoughtfully and make a decision thoughtfully.